everyone, welcome back to Something Ceramics. I was in the studio a day ago, or 2 days ago really, working on this pot, and I thought it would be kind of an interesting introduction to this video. You'll see that in the next part in the works in progress. But I just want to talk about like typography because I thought about adding that to my pots recently. I am a graphic designer, but I'm not really like a typography manipulation kind of designer. Like I don't really do a lot of logos. So I mostly do like space layouts, like web design, and like document design. That's the kind of graphic design that I do. Not a lot of logos, not very good at it, to be honest. I think I know where my limits are. Anyways, in my normal day-to-day work, I usually use 100% free commercial fonts for any graphic design work. Or if I'm doing web design, I use web fonts. I try to avoid using Adobe fonts. Sorry if you guys are big fans of Adobe fonts, just because it gets really complicated with things like web fonts, which is what I often use these for. If I'm making something that requires a web font, like a website, I can't really use Adobe fonts because their licensing is very unreliable when it comes to like the subscriptions and stuff like that. It gets very complicated. So I try to avoid it whenever I can, but it's very difficult. I was thinking about this in the studio because when I was planning out my piece, I remember that when I was a kid, I would used to draw these like 3D bubble letters and draw people's names for them and like their family members' names. I also remember like they would also give me money in return. I don't know if I asked for it, if they offered it, but it was like, 50 cents for like a name label or something like that. Talk about entrepreneurship. Let me see if I can actually sketch it out because I think that'd be fun. And I only have Photoshop. I don't have Procreate, but we work with what we got. I feel like it was like, if I just use my name as reference, like this vibe, like very like almost graffiti-like that, blocky kind of. And then I remember I would take it a step further and I would do like a 3D version. So I would like add 3D-ness to it. I don't know, I feel like I kind of had something going like that. Let's move on to works in progress so you can see what I'm actually doing now. Okay, so for my plant pot, I didn't end up recording this because I was really stressed out that it was too dry. That's on me. I'm still getting better at recording everything I do. But basically, I found this interesting font, which is commercial, manipulated it a little bit, and then basically sketched it onto the piece and carved around it. I did make a border around it because I was a little worried about the fluting kind of running into the words really weird, so I actually kind of like the border. But anyways, a bunch of carving here, which you've seen me do. This is meant to be a plant pot, believe it or not. The goal for this, I think, is I'm going to paint the word plant with underglaze, and then do the same technique in my other videos, which is to glaze the entire body in white and then the plant word in clear, or maybe not even at all. It's a plant pot, so it doesn't really need to be that detailed. We'll decide kind of later on into glazing. And then something else I was working on is I had these vases that I had thrown, I think in December last year, and they were sort of just like a practice for another commission at the time. But I didn't end up using them, and so they've been sitting as greenware on my shelf in my box for quite some time. And now I'm finally getting around to painting them. Because they're so dried, I can't carve them anymore, so I decided to do my kind of sketchy line drawing. For the first vase, I did two different blues. Both are Amako velvet underglaze. One is electric blue and one is medium blue. So I'm kind of doing like patches of them around the piece, and maybe that'll show up, maybe it won't. In the second vase, I did at first a bunch of blue vertical lines, and then I did horizontal purple lines to kind of create like a textile texture. I really don't know what I was doing with this one, honestly. I put on a show and I was just like, we're just gonna see where things end up. And this is where things ended up. This purple also has a tendency to not fire very strongly, so I'm curious to see how it'll look once it does get fired and glazed. All right, and then for the last vase, I've done these kinds of ribbons before, usually out of carving, but I've never done it with this sort of sketchy lined design thing that I've done. So I decided to do that in black. and kind of fade it out from that ribbon and then fill in those spots with the purple. Because my experience is that the purple doesn't fire very strongly, my hope is that the black ribbon will kind of come forward in the firing and the glazing. So we'll see how that turns out. All in all, I think it turned out really interesting looking, at least in the greenware phase. You know, if you can't see the ribbon in the end, it's not a big deal. So had fun with this one for sure. Okay, on to high-low, what do you know? So if you're still here, thank you guys. I know not everyone watches to the kind of personal bit at the end, but this week's high, which is a sort of success or a positive experience, is that I finally finished Zodiac Academy series. If you don't know, it's like a fantasy romance kind of book series. It's got like nine books total, and it is a long one. It's huge for me because I really liked the series in the beginning. I think kind of towards the middle and towards the end, I was just like, let's get the books are drawn out, like the characters are drawn out. Like I get everyone needs to have their own storyline, but like let's go, let's keep it moving. And then I finally finished the last book, which I'm fine with the ending. I thought it was a fine ending and a good ending for the series. But overall, I'm just really glad that I finished it. And I would probably read some books again, but probably not the whole series. My low this week is that I just felt like I wasn't doing enough fast enough, like especially for these videos, which they don't take a terribly long amount of time to make or to edit and put together. But I felt like my workflow could have been improved, which actually it did improve. So my low turned out to be a high. I basically improved my workflow for like getting, what do you call them? Captions up and ready and stuff and faster, which I think is really important personally for accessibility. So I try to keep it consistent over all my videos. And for my what do you know, I'm just going to cut to a little clip that I filmed last night, which I think is really fun. Okay, bye. Okay, so I'm on my walk with Kuma, and my partner is here as well. For today's what do you know, I just learned something that I think is like kind of insane. I basically, so I was talking to my partner. Can I tell them your name? Yeah. Okay. So I was talking to my partner Z, and he had recently gone over to his friend's place to play ball or whatever. They have like a half court in their building, and they were playing. I think were you guys just shooting?
Yeah, just shooting around.
So apparently, when you play pickup basketball, there's etiquette, obviously, which I grew up in a tiny town, so I don't know anything about this kind of etiquette. But when you get to a court and you're looking for a game, you have the right to take the court, right? If no one's really playing a game, right? Is that correct?
Yeah, I mean, people just go to play games. If you're not playing a game, then you either can join the game or you can leave.
Okay, but you had the court first. Like if you were just like shooting around, so like
people shoot around and they don't have enough people to play. Then sometimes people come join. Then there's enough people. But if they don't want to join, then I guess whoever's coming in can just play.
My anxiety would never be able to be in that situation, basically.
And then the next group of people come, just call next, and then they get to play after. We're done. Well, the one game.
But what if you have like two groups of people that are different size groups and you all want to play? Do you just merge to create a new group?
We make enough people for two teams.
So like if you had like 2 people plus 5 people, what would you do? It's an odd number.
Someone has to sit out.
Someone has to sit. You can't just do like a 3-on-4?
No.
It has to be an even number, 3-on-3?
Doesn't have to be, but
this is crazy.
Even numbers are just more fun.
So like so there's 2-on-2, 3-on-3. Is there 4-on-4? Or is that not?
5.
Okay.
It can be however many you want.
Okay. Well, that's
5 is the max, most likely.
5 on what?
5-on-5 is a max, but you know.
Going down the stairs, hold on. Okay, so I had another question. So what if... Oh, so sorry, Kuma. So sorry. I just tripped over him. So what if you were at like this big court, right? And there's 2 nets. And one side had a game going on already, so it's occupied. And the other net was free except for some guy was just shooting on it. You would then be able to kick the guy that's shooting on it off? Is that correct?
I mean, the better thing to do is just to play with the other people that were playing.
But what if they're already doing like a 5-on-5?
Just wait and call next.
What? Okay, calling next is crazy to me. Okay, that's what I learned this week.